Welcome to Module 4, Footprinting and Reconnaissance, part of the Secure 7 Ethical Hacking Masterclass. In this module, we dive into the first real step in ethical hacking, gathering intel before the attack. It's called Footprinting and Reconnaissance. This is where skilled hackers and security professionals silently map out the target, identifying vulnerabilities without ever touching or alerting the system. This module is divided into 7 practical and powerful lessons. 4.1. What is footprinting? Understand what footprinting really means and why it's critical to every hacking phase. 4.2. Types of footprinting, active versus passive. Explore how attackers use passive methods to stay undetected and active methods when more detail is needed. 4.3. DNS and network information gathering. Dig into DNS records, subdomains, and IP mappings to uncover the network blueprint. 4.4. Google hacking and OSINT, open source intelligence. Use tools like Google Dorks and OSINT frameworks to mine public data like a pro. 4.5. WHOIS, email and social media intelligence gathering. Discover how much info you can extract from domains, emails, and employee profiles. 4.6. Metadata extraction and file reconnaissance. Learn how hidden data inside files, like images and PDFs, can be used for digital profiling. 4.7. Social engineering. Explore the human side of hacking, where psychology and manipulation meet information gathering. By the end of this module, you'll be able to perform passive and active reconnaissance, use open source tools for silent scanning, build target profiles for ethical hacking engagements, lay the foundation for scanning, enumeration, and exploitation. Let's begin with 4.1. What is footprinting? If you're enjoying this journey, like, comment, and subscribe to Secure 7, and let's keep hacking the right way. Before any hacker breaks into a system, legally or maliciously, the first step is the same. Gather information. Quietly, strategically, thoroughly. That's called footprinting. Footprinting is the blueprint building phase of ethical hacking. It's where you gather as much data as possible about your target, without directly interacting with their system. Imagine you're a thief, a legal one in our case, trying to break into a building. Footprinting is like walking around the outside, noting down where the doors and cameras are, when the guards change shifts, and what kind of locks are used, all before ever touching a lockpick. Definition of footprinting. Footprinting is the process of collecting as much information as possible about a target system, organization, or individual to find ways to intrude or assess vulnerabilities. This information can include domain names and IP addresses, employee names and emails, server locations and technologies used, social media accounts, open ports and services, file metadata, and more. Why footprinting matters in ethical hacking. It helps define the attack surface, reduces guesswork in later phases like scanning and exploitation, reveals vulnerabilities before attackers find them. It's often legal and invisible when done passively. Most importantly, 80% of a real attack is planning and recon. The better your footprinting, the better your overall penetration test or defense plan will be. Ethical use of footprinting. As an ethical hacker, you must have permission before engaging in deep reconnaissance. Passive information gathering using public tools is usually fine, but anything beyond that requires authorization. Common footprinting tools and methods: Google Dorks, WHOIS Lookup, Shodan, Maltego, NS Lookup and Dig, LinkedIn, Facebook Recon, metadata extraction from docs images. We'll go deep into these in the coming lessons. Key takeaways. Footprinting equals silent intel gathering on a target. It's a mix of passive, undetectable, and active, riskier techniques. It lays the foundation for every ethical hacking operation. Think like a spy, act like a professional hacker. Next up, Module 4.2, Types of Footprinting, Active versus Passive. Make sure to like and subscribe to Secure 7 if you're learning something new. Now that you understand what footprinting is, let's go one step deeper. There are 2 major styles of footprinting, and knowing when and how to use each is key for ethical hacking. Passive footprinting. Active footprinting. Let's break them down. Passive footprinting, the silent approach. Passive footprinting is about gathering intel without ever interacting with the target directly. You become a digital detective, collecting breadcrumbs that are already publicly available. Examples of passive sources: search engines, Google, Bing; social media profiles, LinkedIn, Facebook, WHOIS data; news articles, PDFs, and press releases; job postings revealing tech stacks, e.g. looking for AWS engineer; DNS records using public tools like Dig or NSLookup, if done off-target. Why it's used: completely stealthy. The target won't know you're investigating. No legal boundaries crossed if using only public data. Great for social engineering preparation or basic OSINT, open source intelligence. Passive doesn't mean useless. A skilled attacker can build a full map just from public info. Active footprinting, the direct probe. Active footprinting involves interacting directly with the target's infrastructure. Here you send requests, pings, or scans to a system to extract data. Examples of active techniques: port scanning, Nmap, masscan, banner grabbing, detecting server types, traceroute commands, DNS zone transfers, if misconfigured, email verification tools, direct ping sweeps. Why it's useful: gives more accurate and detailed info, reveals live hosts, open ports, operating systems, and more, required before exploitation phases. But there's a catch. It can trigger alerts in intrusion detection systems, IDS. Without permission, it could be illegal or unethical. Quick comparison table. Feature: passive, active, if public data only. Visibility: stealthy, undetectable. Detectable, triggers alerts. Interaction with target: no, yes. Data accuracy: moderate, high. Legal risk: low, if public data only. High, if done without consent. Tools used: Google, WHOIS, Maltego, Nmap, traceroute, ping. Pro tip: most skilled ethical hackers start passive, gather what they can, then switch to active once they have legal authorization and clear scope. Ethical reminder: never use active footprinting on a system you don't have permission to test. It's equivalent to knocking on someone's door at 2 a.m., not a good look. In summary, passive equals silent, legal, safe. Active equals louder, deeper, riskier, but powerful. Use both strategically during penetration testing. Always follow your scope, contracts, and legal boundaries. Next up, Module 4.3, DNS and Network Information Gathering. We'll learn how to extract valuable details from the DNS and network layer. Like, comment, and subscribe to Secure 7 if you're ready to become a Recon ninja. Welcome to one of the most underrated but powerful phases of Reconnaissance: DNS and Network Information Gathering. If you control the DNS, you control the internet. That might sound dramatic, but DNS is a goldmine for ethical hackers. In this lesson, we'll explore how hackers and cybersecurity professionals can extract sensitive infrastructure information without ever breaching a system. What is DNS? DNS equals Domain Name System. It's the internet's phone book, converting domain names like secure7.in into IP addresses like 203.133.10. But there's a catch. DNS servers often leak information, intentionally or unintentionally. That's where ethical hackers come in. Why DNS matters in Recon: reveals internal network structure, identifies subdomains, e.g. admin.secure7.in, can expose internal IP addresses, helps locate email servers, test servers, APIs, may allow zone transfers, a huge vulnerability. Tools and techniques for DNS Recon. 1. WHOIS lookup, reveals domain registrar, owner, contact info, DNS servers, tools WHOIS, ICANN-lookup, oxy.com. 2. NSLookup dig, queries DNS records, A, MX, TXT, NS, etc. Tool, NSLookupDomain.com, digdomain.com, any. 3. Subdomain enumeration, helps find hidden apps or staging environments. Tools, sublist3er, CRT sheesh, amass, asset finder. 4. Reverse DNS lookup, converts IPs back to domains, useful for identifying targets in a given IP range. 5. Zone transfer attack, if misconfigured, a DNS server may reveal its full zone file, all subdomains plus records. Tool dig AXFR at ns1.target.com, target.com. Only test this on authorized domains. Network info gathering techniques. 1. Ping sweeps and traceroute. Map the path to a target, identify firewalls, gateways, and response times. 2. IP range discovery. Find all systems hosted on a domain or company. Tool, Shodan, Netcraft, Census. 3. Port Scanning Preview, Light. Find open ports passively using tools like Shodan. Save full scans for later modules. 4. Banner Grabbing Teaser. Identify server software and version via headers. Tool curl ifi target.com, whatweb, nmap.sv. Ethical hacking use cases. Find forgotten or exposed subdomains. Identify insecure DNS servers. Prepare for phishing simulation, MX Records help. Discover tech stack via CNAME or A Records. Avoid triggering alerts with passive DNS. Pro tips. Use tools like Reconning, the Harvester, and Amass for large-scale DNS recon. Combine DNS plus Google Dorks for hidden dev test environments. Document every discovered subdomain or IP. They'll be used later in scanning and exploitation. Important reminder, only test domains IPs you're authorized to test. DNS recon is legal. But DNS zone transfers or scanning live targets can get you into trouble without proper scope. What you've learned in this lesson, what DNS is and why it matters in recon, passive and active tools for DNS and network info gathering, how subdomain and zone transfer recon reveals infrastructure, tips to stay ethical and efficient. Coming next, Module 4.4, Google Hacking and OSINT. We'll uncover how Google and public data can expose vulnerabilities companies didn't even know existed. Welcome back to Secure 7. In this part of our journey, we explore how search engines and public data can be weaponized for hacking, legally and ethically. The best hackers don't break in, they log in, using public information. This is where Google Hacking and OSINT, open source intelligence, come into play. What is Google Hacking? Google Hacking refers to using advanced search techniques known as Google Dorks to uncover sensitive information indexed by search engines. This includes exposed admin portals, login pages, error messages, configuration files, and webcams, forgotten databases, documents with metadata, passwords, usernames. Examples of Google Dorks, Dork, what it entitle, index of site example.com, directory listings, file type SQL in-text password, SQL dumps containing passwords, UNRL, login site example.com, login pages, xlog log files, site example.com, inRL, admin portals, in-text DB password, exposed credentials and code. Google Dorks are passive. They don't send any requests to the target system directly. This makes them useful for stealth reconnaissance. What is OSINT, open source intelligence? OSINT is the art of collecting publicly available information from websites, social media profiles, government databases, images and metadata, forums, GitHub, Pastebin, YouTube, LinkedIn, Reddit. Hackers use OSINT to profile organizations, build employee target lists, find leaked credentials, map out infrastructure, discover abandoned domains or projects. OSINT tools, tool purpose, the Harvester, email and domain harvesting, Maltego, visual link analysis of people orgs, Spiderfoot, automated OSINT framework, Shodan, search devices connected to the internet, Google Dorks, search for index secrets, Hunt, Google account intelligence, social mapper, facial recognition from public profiles. OSINT in real life, gather email patterns for phishing, discover open AWS S3 buckets, identify targets tech stack, uncover data breaches related to a domain, learn about employees via LinkedIn, use metadata in documents, author name, GPS, timestamp. Metadata example file recon. Download a public PDF from a target website. Use bash exif tool filename.pdf. It may show author name, username, OS version, timestamp, software used. This can help identify internal usernames or technology used. Ethical usage. Google Hacking and OSINT are powerful tools. However, just because data is public doesn't mean you can use it maliciously. Always follow the rules. Don't use leaked credentials, don't exploit discovered pages unless in scope, never impersonate or social engineer without permission, always document your sources. What you learned in this module. How Google Dorks can uncover sensitive data. What OSINT is and how it applies to ethical hacking. Tools and techniques to gather information legally. Tips to use OSINT effectively during recon. Boundaries and ethical lines in passive recon. Next up, 4.5, WHOIS, email and social media intelligence gathering. We'll dig deeper into target identities, domains, and personal data gathering from legitimate sources. Welcome back to Secure 7, where we uncover the techniques real hackers use, the legal way. In this lesson, we're diving into WHOIS, email intelligence, and social media profiling, the backbone of human and domain reconnaissance. These are passive but powerful methods for mapping out targets and identifying key personnel and vulnerabilities. #1. WHOIS lookup. What is it? WHOIS is a public database that stores registration information about domain names. What WHOIS reveals: domain owner's name if not private, organization name, email address and phone number sometimes, registrar, e.g. GoDaddy, Namecheap, registration and expiration dates, name servers and DNS info, hosting provider IP ranges. Tools to use: WHOIS command, linuxlatools.com, domaintools.com, aps/docs.com. Amass, subdomain plus WHOIS tool. Hackers use WHOIS to pivot to other domains owned by the same company or person. 2. Email intelligence gathering. Emails are more than just communication. They can leak usernames, give away patterns, and lead to social engineering targets. How to gather emails. The Harvester, tool to extract emails from public sources. Hunter.io, find email formats for any company. Google Dorks, like intext at example.com, cite linkedin.com at example.com. What you learn: format of internal emails, e.g. firstname.lastname at domain.com. Common aliases: admin at support at, people involved in HR, finance, IT. Useful for phishing: cross-reference emails with data breaches using havebeen.com/haveibeenping.com. Social media profiling. Social engineering begins with knowing your human targets. Social media is a goldmine for this. What to look for: company hierarchy on LinkedIn, employee names, job titles and technologies used, personal interests, events attended, Instagram, Twitter, past complaints, Reddit, Twitter, photos showing devices or badges, tools, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit. Maltego builds social graphs, Sherlock finds usernames across platforms, ghunt extract info from Gmail addresses, Twint, Twitter scraping tool. A single social media post can reveal devices, office IPs, or insider info. Example scenario: you're performing a recon on examplecorp.com. WHOIS reveals it's hosted with AWS. Hunter.io gives you 10 employee emails. LinkedIn shows the CISO recently left, potential weakness. Instagram shows office photos with badge QR codes. GitHub has an engineer's repo with .env file, credentials. All of that came without a single exploit, just passive recon. Ethical considerations: use OSINT for authorized engagements only. Never contact or harass targets. Document all your sources. Don't collect personal data beyond what's in scope. Even public data must be handled with care. Key takeaways: WHOIS gives you domain ownership and infrastructure insight. Email intel reveals naming conventions and potential users. Social media reveals people, technologies, and human weak points. Passive data equals powerful leverage in red teaming or penetration testing. Coming next, Module 4.6, Metadata Extraction and File Reconnaissance. You'll learn how a single photo or document can spill everything from usernames. Welcome back, hackers. In today's lesson, we're diving into the hidden world of metadata, the invisible information hiding inside everyday files. You'd be surprised how much information images, PDFs, and Office documents reveal when you know where to look. What is metadata? Metadata is data about data. Invisible information automatically embedded into files when they are created or modified. Common metadata types: author name or username, device used, make model, file path on computer, software and OS version, timestamps, creation, modification, GPS coordinates in images. Metadata is not meant to be seen, but it can expose sensitive info unintentionally. 1. Metadata in documents. Office files like .docx, .ppdx, PDF, etc. often contain author names, software version, and more. Tools to extract metadata. EXIF tool, Universal Metadata Reader. PDF info for PDF metadata. Microsoft Word, file, info, properties. Strings, quick command line peek. Binwalk for embedded files. Real-world use. Identifying usernames, e.g. John Doe at company. Learning internal file paths, e.g. users IT dept reports. Tracking document edits. Over. 2. Metadata in images. Digital photos often include EXIF data, exchangeable image file format. EXIF data might contain camera make model, timestamp, GPS coordinates, major privacy risk, orientation, ISO, exposure, etc. Tools. EXIF tool, exif.regex.info, exif.regex.info, MAT2 for metadata anonymization, photoforensics.com for deep image analysis. Example, someone uploads an image of their workstation to LinkedIn. EXIF data reveals, taken on iPhone 13, exact GPS coordinates, office location, time, 9:32 a.m. on a Monday, possible routine, schedule. B3. File reconnaissance. Recon isn't just about metadata. Files themselves can expose internal project names, developer comments or debug logs, credentials in .env or config files, file naming conventions, recycle bin and temp file leaks. Tools for hunting: GitHub, GitLab, Pastebin, Google Dorks, site drive.google.com, file type PDF confidential, site github.com, password, Shodan, searching exposed files on servers. Use case example. You're auditing a leaked resume from a company. EXIF tool shows author, anand@xycorp.com. GPS coordinates reveal the building address, internal file path, CHA-A25 hiring plan.dax. PDF properties show it was exported via Adobe Pro, recent version. You now have names, locations, file paths, and software used, all without touching the network. Ethical use only. Don't extract or download unauthorized files. Perform metadata analysis only in scope. Always anonymize documents before sharing in reports. Use findings to strengthen an organization's digital hygiene. Key takeaways. Metadata hides valuable information in plain sight. Tools like EXIF tools, strings, and PDF info are your allies. Images can leak GPS, timestamps, and device info. File reconnaissance reveals internal structures without active scanning. Be ethical and responsible with what you uncover. Next up, Module 4.7, Social Engineering Recon, will explore how hackers exploit human behavior, phone calls, and email tricks, and how to defend against them. Welcome back to Secure 7. We've explored tools, data, and techniques so far, but now it's time to explore the human factor, one of the weakest links in cybersecurity. In Social Engineering Recon, we focus on gathering intelligence about people, their habits, roles, relationships, and digital footprints, to exploit them without ever touching a firewall. What is social engineering? Social engineering is the art of manipulating people to give up confidential information or perform actions that compromise security. In Reconnaissance, we use social engineering to gather pre-attack intelligence like who works where, their job roles, their habits, hobbies, behavior, communication styles, platforms they use. This helps us craft more realistic phishing attacks, pretexts, or impersonation strategies. 1. Employee enumeration. Identify key personnel within the target organization. Focus on executives and leadership, HR and finance, handles payroll invoices, IT staff, access to infrastructure, new hires or interns less aware of threats. Tools and platforms. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitters, company websites, About Us team, people search engines, e.g. people, hunter.io. 2. Profiling individuals. Once people are identified, gather personal data to build psychological profiles. What to look for: interests, hobbies, pets, travel, photos that show workspace, screens, badge IDs, language, tone of writing, helps in phishing. Work schedules or routines. Example, a user posts every morning from a coffee shop, perfect timing for a pretext call. 3. Email and communication patterns. Use OSINT tools to collect corporate email addresses. Tools, hunter.io, find email patterns. Email permutator, guess email combinations. Verifyemail.org, check deliverability. Mailtester.com. Why it matters. Email structure helps you send spoofed emails that look legit. X, first.last@secure7.com versus lastname@secure7.com. 4. Image analysis and background details. Look at images posted online, whiteboards and backgrounds, access badges, Wi-Fi names or QR codes, file names, screenshots. Desk layout could lead to physical attack vectors. Even a birthday cake with a name on it is a clue. 5. Pretexting and roleplay scenarios. Use the Recon to build a fake persona, pretext. Hi, this is Raj from the IT team. we're resetting credentials. This is your vendor from HR system support. We need to confirm bank details. Hey, I saw your event on LinkedIn. Mind sending over the deck? Craft these stories based on facts gathered during Recon to make them convincing. 6. BEC and vishing preparation. BEC, business email compromise. Vishing, voice phishing. Your Recon helps you understand who is authorized to approve payments, who manages IT credentials, internal lingo or acronyms, to sound real, phone numbers, office addresses, extensions. These are often used in CEO fraud or invoice scams. Real-world example. An attacker found the CFO's LinkedIn, saw a vacation post, CFO out of office, learned from Facebook that the accountant is handling tasks, sent a fake email from the CFO asking for an urgent payment. It worked. Payment sent. Recon equals success. No malware. No brute force, just information. Ethical guidelines. Never perform social engineering outside of authorized engagements. Only simulate scenarios in legal and scope tests. Always document findings responsibly. Respect privacy and consent. Social engineering can be powerful. Use it ethically and professionally. Key takeaways. Social engineering Recon focuses on humans, not machines, tools. LinkedIn, social media, hunter.io, people search engines. Look for patterns, relationships, routines, habits. Use Recon to craft realistic pretexts or phishing lures. Always operate under legal and ethical guidelines. And that brings us to the end of Module 4, Footprinting and Reconnaissance. We've just explored one of the most crucial phases in ethical hacking, where information is power, and where most attacks begin before a single line of code is executed. From passive data mining to active recon, from WHOIS to Google Dorks, and from metadata to social engineering tactics, you now understand how attackers gather intelligence and how defenders can think one step ahead. Let's quickly recap what you learned in this module. What is footprinting and why it's the first step in any attack? The difference between active and passive reconnaissance. DNS, WHOIS, email, and network intelligence gathering techniques. The power of OSINT tools and Google hacking. Social engineering reconnaissance, the human factor. What's next? In Module 5, we'll be diving deep into scanning and enumeration, the next step where we begin mapping out networks, identifying live hosts, open ports, services, and gathering banners for attack vectors. This is where reconnaissance turns technical. If you found value in this module, drop a like, leave a comment. What was the most surprising technique for you? Subscribe to Secure 7 if you haven't already. Share this course with friends or colleagues getting into cybersecurity.